Hi, I'm Jim Munro and this is Sun Speed. There are 2 races left in this season's Formula 1 Grand Prix series and Jenson Button is still the man to catch. Button has a 14-point lead as we head to Brazil for the action this weekend. And here to discuss that race and the other machinations and shenanigans going on in the world of Formula 1, I'm delighted to introduce the Sun's voice of motorsport, Chris Hockley. Hi Chris.
Hi Jim.
Now, the burning issue at the moment isn't so much this race this weekend, it's next season's British Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's a race in 2010.
Silverstone, Donington, Silverstone, what's going on?
It's a right muddle, isn't it? We have another twist in the saga this morning. Donington has issued a plea for £135 million through a bond issue. That's a lot of money, isn't it, Jim? I don't know if you're going to be investing or not.
I don't have 135 pence to invest, Chris, but
I don't either.
Let alone that sort of money, but 135 million, how on earth are they going to raise that?
I don't think they will, frankly. But this is the ongoing argument, really, that's developing between Donington and Silverstone. And I'm getting seriously worried for the future of the British Grand Prix now, because both sides seem to be digging in. Donington insisting they're going to have the money ready for next year's race and the 17 years beyond that. Silverstone are saying that they're prepared to take the race over if Donington can't do it, but maybe only on a 5-year or a 10-year contract.
Right. We
could be falling between 2 stools here and end up with no race at all. It's quite a scary prospect.
OK, well, I heard Bernie Ecclestone saying earlier in the week that he hadn't given Donington an extra couple of weeks. They basically had 2 weeks to prove that they weren't going to be in breach of contract. Are there any time limits there that they've given on this 135 million and when they can raise it?
No, I mean, there's a weird thing that Bernie said, really. He said that they weren't extending the deadline for Donington. He said that basically Donington were in breach of contract and he was giving them 2 weeks to sort it out, which to me is extending the deadline. It's the same thing. So where we stand now, I don't know. Damon Hill, on behalf of Silverstone, has come out this week and said, for God's sake, sort it out, boys, because the timeline for either Donington or Silverstone is getting critical now. By this time last year, Silverstone has sold 25% of its tickets for this year's event. You know, these things can't get organised overnight. There's a lot of work that needs to go into them. I mean, Donington's got to have a lot of building work to do apart from anything else. And Silverstone needs its promotion, marketing strategies and the finances ironed out. And at the moment, we're going nowhere.
Right, and you can see why Silverstone is saying, well, yeah, OK, we could take it over, but we would want more than just the 1 year. We'd want, as you said, 5 years, perhaps.
Yeah, they want to do. Sorry, Jim. They want to do redevelopment like Donington do. They want a major redevelopment programme in place, and of course they need the finances from the Grand Prix to do that.
Okay.
I'm just getting pretty angry because on the fans' behalf here, because you know we're getting seriously worried now that it might get so serious that lose it completely, and then will we get it back?
Right. OK, well that obviously is going to rumble on for quite some time. Getting back to the racing side of things, obviously Brazil this weekend. Button's got his 14-point lead, 2 races to go. You'd think he's just about got it in the bag, but he's not exactly thrilling us all with the way things have been going the past few races. How do you see this one coming up?
It's another saga, isn't it? Button's quest for the World Championship. My feeling is he might nick it this weekend. He has to finish 3rd or higher, no matter what anybody else does. But, I mean, you're right, he hasn't been convincing in the last few races. Barrichello's been faster than him. Barrichello, of course, is his main challenger in going to his home Grand Prix in front of Brazilian fans. Now, that could work one of 2 ways. Either Barrichello is going to be blindingly quick in front of the Brazilian fans, or he's a very emotional guy, very patriotic guy. He might just explode with the pressure of it all.
He could crack under the strain.
He could well do, yeah. And you've still got the Vettel and Hamilton major contenders this weekend again, and if Vettel wins, you know, that's going to put real pressure on Jenson for the final race of the year in Abu Dhabi. OK, well, from a racing point of view, it would perhaps be nice to have it hanging over until that final race in Abu Dhabi. There are a few new names we can look forward to seeing this weekend. Now, there's one name in particular, Kobayashi. Now, up until this weekend, the only Kobayashi I knew was the guy who wins hot dog eating championships in New York and wins $1 million every time. I assume it's not the same guy. It's a strange world you inhabit, Jim.
It's this insider knowledge you have. It's a sport. In my eyes, it's a sport.
It's not the same guy, but I don't think he's going to do a hell of a lot better than the hot dog man. He's called Kamui Kobayashi. He's standing in for Timo Glock at Toyota. Glock's injured, they've found and an injured vertebra, as well as the gash on his leg that he suffered at the last Grand Prix.
Right.
Now, Kobayashi, it's a typical thing of what's happening this season, really. He's Toyota's reserve driver, but he doesn't really have any fantastic form. He's taken part in some GP2 races, the feeder series for Formula 1, but done nothing brilliant. And it's troubling me, really, that people like Kobayashi and Jaime Alguersuari are coming in without really a huge grounding, when there are a lot of much more qualified drivers out there.
Right. So it's obviously then people like Toyota who are making those decisions. There's not anyone who can be looking at, say, the standard of driver they're bringing in and saying, well, no, you should be giving a chance to this pool of drivers here or such.
Well, you can kind of understand it from Toyota's point of view. You know, they're a Japanese company. They want to promote a Japanese driver. So, you know, it was ever thus. But I think there'll be a lot of experienced drivers looking at Kobayashi driving a Toyota this weekend, and basically hoping he doesn't get in the way of everybody else, because it's going to be a major challenge for him.
Yeah, OK. Well, he's new for this weekend. And a few changes proposed in next season's roster. There are quite a few changes. Fernando Alonso at the head of them, but who else can you bring us up to speed on?
There's massive changes for next year. I'm looking forward to it already. We've got Alonso going to Ferrari. That's definite now. I think that's going to be really exciting, and I hope it's going to reignite his feud with Lewis Hamilton, because they're both going to be in very good cars next year. Yeah. The other big one's Raikkonen, who's making way for Alonso. Now, Mercedes seem to be playing a little bit of politics in the background. We don't know if Raikkonen's going to McLaren or Brawn.
Right.
If he doesn't, Nico Rosberg will switch from Williams to go to either McLaren or Brawn. So you're going to have either Raikkonen or Rosberg in a McLaren or a Brawn. Right. Both with Mercedes engines next year. Barrichello looks as if he's signed for Williams. Okay. Which is going to be quite exciting, I think. And they're looking at Nico Hülkenberg, who's just won the GP2 championship as their second driver. Another hot young German. There seem to be a lot of those around now.
OK, well, talking of hot talent, just quickly cast an eye over across the pond for us to IndyCar and tell us what's happened over there. That's been good news for Britain.
Great news for Britain, and Dario Franchitti has won the IndyCar championship for the second time in 3 years. After an amazing race at Homestead, Miami last weekend, where he did his fuel strategy much better than his rivals and swept past them all to win right at the end, which was very exciting. It's great for Franchitti. He tried NASCAR last year and had an abysmal season, frankly. Right. Came back to IndyCars this year, and he's champion again, so the guy can't do any more than that. So, great big thrill for Britain.
Franchitti, the top cat. Superb. Yeah. OK, well, before we sign off, Chris, this is where I always put you under pressure. This weekend in Brazil, Interlagos, two things really. Who's going to win the race, and is Button going to do enough to clinch the Drivers' Championship? Right, well, I'm going to hedge my bets there. I hope Button does it, because we all want him to win the championship, whatever his sort of rather lacklustre performances have been of late. We still want him to win. I think the race is going to be between Hamilton and Vettel. And I think if Vettel does enough, then it's going to go down to the wire in Abu Dhabi. Great stuff. OK, thanks as always. Cheers. Now don't forget, you can follow every twist and turn of the race in Interlagos on our incredible racing centre on thesun.co.uk/motorsport.